Are you who you want to be, or what you think others want you to be? This is the Performatory Talks with Janne Volkers.
What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see yourself, or do you see someone else? Do you see the things you like about yourself, or do you see the things you want to change? I'm going to talk about self-image today because it's something that I've been struggling with for quite some time. Nowadays, it's much easier to talk about mental health problems, but sometimes it can still be seen as a taboo. Your self-image is the way you see yourself, your personality, your appearance, and your abilities. The first thing I wanted to find out were the things that influence your self-image. I came across a term called self-schemas. A self-schema is a collection of beliefs based on the experience and memories that you have. You can develop a false self-schema if you interpret an experience in a wrong way. When developing a false self-schema, the risk of establishing a negative self-image increases. When someone establishes a negative self-image, they think that other people think the same negative way about them as they do themselves. This makes the person engage less in social activities. This because they want to protect themselves from the risk of getting rejected. This also makes a problem for the person itself. It's hard to maintain relationships like this. Another thing I found was self-criticism. Your self-critic is the inner voice that you hear inside your head. It engages in negative self-evaluations based on perfectionistic standards and expectations. If you don't meet these expectations, you might feel like a failure, and this can also result into developing a negative self-image. According to Andrea Owen, the self-critic is the most occurring form that leads to women having a negative self-image. Now I'm going to talk about body image. This is the body part of self-image. In a study from Jennifer Mills, women from 18 to 27 years old found that they feel worse about themselves after they've seen social media pages from other women who they believe are more attractive. This is where I want to get more into depth in the influence social media can have on your self-image. Of course, social media brings a lot of positive things, a lot of new opportunities. You can build a business, you can make new friends, and you can also share your thoughts. But it also brings some negative things into your self-image. The biggest issue about social media is that we constantly compare ourselves with other people. This also happens in real life, but nowadays social media plays the biggest role in this. To get deeper into this, I found a theory called the social comparison theory from Leon Festinger. Here, he says that we determine our worth based on how we compare to other people around us. He talks about two different comparisons. In this case, I'm only going to talk about one, the upward comparison. We engage in an upward comparison when we compare ourselves to someone who we believe is better than us. Nowadays, it is inevitable to engage in upward comparisons on social media. When this happens, you might get a feeling of dissatisfaction, desperation, or even depressive symptoms. I have asked my friends if they think social media influences their self-image. They all told me that it definitely influences their self-image in a negative way. One of them even told me that we are constantly confronted with perfect people. They only post the positive parts of their lives. This makes it look like they have the perfect life. This can give us the feeling of not being good enough and feeling a lot of pressure. Social media also gives us a lot of stress. This is because we want to be up to date the whole time. People check their phones constantly because they don't want to miss any opportunity. It is proven that the more you check your phone, the higher stress level you can get. This is especially with millennials. They were grown up in the digital revolution. This means that they were the first ones to really experience the internet that we know nowadays. A study shows that millennials are worried about the amount of time that they spend on social media. They also said that they are concerned about the negative effects it can have on their physical and mental health. Millennials also feel pressure from social media because, as I said before, they want to know everything. They want to do better. The reason millennials get this pressure is because they are perfectionistic. Some of them even experience a multidimensional perfectionism. This is perfectionism driven by unrealistically high expectations. I realized that I also get this pressure. More than I thought I did before, actually. When I was doing this research, I felt like none of my work would be good enough. Even when preparing for this talk, I thought I would make a mistake and that I would completely mess it up. But why? Simply because I want to succeed, just like everyone else. Doing this research made me realize what kind of impact social media can have on your self-image. It made it easier for me to improve my self-image. And until yesterday, I thought that's what I wanted to help other people with as well. I thought I wanted to help them be aware of the influences social media can have on your self-image. But yesterday, as I wrote the last conclusion of my research, I realized that it might not even be what I want. I realized I wanted to focus more on comparison and how it influences your authentic self. And now before I finish, I ask you one more thing. The next time you look in the mirror, I want you to question yourself. Are you who you want to be? Or are you what you think others want you to be? Thank you for listening.